Girl, y'all was loud, child. Voices bouncing off the walls and off of the beautiful hardwood floors. Just loud. Hey guys, thanks so much for clicking on the video. This is my review for Married to Medicine. Season 9, Episode 3, baby. Contessa and Heavenly. Y'all some high old loud heifers, honey. Y'all was screaming and yelling. But we're going to get to it in a minute. I didn't like it, though. I didn't like it. It was hard to watch. This is my favorite. This show literally is my favorite. There's no one on the show that I just can't stomach or anything like that. I really do like all the couples and all the people, so when they get into these little tussles with each other, it's, you just get like, you be like, oh, it's a lot of angst. Like, okay, I know you got to fight. I know you got to have some, with each other, but it's like, just let's hurry up and make it on through it. So, especially when it's a couple people that you really kind of do care for and they get to fighting like that, you just builds up the angst. But anyway, we'll get to it. It's all part of the game, right? All right, loud part of the game. Anyhow, first things first, we see Simone and Quad. Who would have thought it? Simone and Quad sitting down, just happy and just catching up. And this has really kind of been what the mood is this season. Everybody's really happy except for Heavenly. Everybody not happy with Heavenly, but everybody else is pretty happy and happy for one another. So I don't know. It's like, it's interesting. It's an interesting dynamic. But Quad and Simone, and they sitting there, no shade, just Quad's going on and on. Baby, listen, I'm telling you, I think Quad could talk about little man for a whole episode. She just be lit up and just grinning and kikiing about the little stuff that he does and the stuff that he says. She is having the time of her life with helping raising this baby. And that's, well, it was like that when the baby was actually a baby. She was all lit up. There's a whole different side of Quad when it comes to children. She's having herself a good time with Mason. But she was sitting there, and you can see Simone was just enjoyed. It was just a nice scene of them two sitting and nobody screaming. Because usually, when I say screaming and yelling and I say loud, you already know from the door that Simone is involved. But not this time. Not this time. Moving on. Oh, Contessa and Toya. Who would have thought it? Contessa and Toya sitting together over Toya's house. I said, well, I'll be damned. Ain't this nice? So the friends are back together. They're back together, and they're over there, and Toya has sent herself some flowers and doing what Toya does, doing her housewife thing and all that. And they are speaking about Heavenly. So Heavenly's the thing. We back together, but now we both are molded by Heavenly. But see, the thing with Toya and Heavenly, I don't think anything ever really got fixed. Toya, I don't think Toya actually likes Heavenly. It just seems like Toya can't stand Heavenly, pretty much. There's a little disdain with that. Contessa and Heavenly is a different situation. Contessa is angry with Heavenly, but Contessa loves Heavenly. They were actual friends, so it's a little bit different. Toya actually goes in when she says, that Heavenly on her YouTube channel said that Eugene acts like a woman. So, but I mean, well, I don't say that Eugene acts like a woman because that's not one of my, I don't use that phrase. But Eugene be in the shit. He be with the shits. Because he's Toya's bestest friend. He's her best friend. Like, before Adela came along, it was Eugene. She had to chop it up with Eugene. She went back and forth about the girls and what they were doing with Eugene. So that's where some of that stuff comes from. It's the same bad rap that Peter used to get with Cynthia. We know Peter's not gay. We know Peter's not a woman or womanly. Peter's that dude. You know what I mean? But Peter always got that bad rap and the bad edit and the bad name because Cynthia would tell him things and then he would sometimes react, same as Eugene. It just kind of puts you in the realm of bitch ass when you hear too much, because the other men don't really hear all that gossip stuff, and they be most of the time blindsided. Damon be blindsided with the stuff that Heavenly be caught up in, and Cecil's another one. Cecil get that bad rap too because you be too involved. Cecil be doing this, and he's Twitter fingers, and it gets him in trouble. So kind of that's where that little bad rap comes from. You know what I mean? So that's what that's all about. But it kind of hurt. It stung when she said Eugene acts like a woman. And then there's been stuff said about Eugene's sexuality, but I don't believe that stuff. Anyway, in the past, that's just ways of digging at him because he was his wife's gossip buddy. That's all. That's all that is. So what they end up doing, they're staging this intervention. And I'm like, this sounds like a bad idea, but okay. Now, Contessa, what is this hair thing? Bad hair this season. It's so far. So far. Till the end. I mean, you did this little wig at the end, and you kept saying it was Storm, but baby, Storm's hair is white. Storm's hair is not lilac. It's white. But, okay. But that wig was, I mean, it was pretty. It was a pretty wig. And, of course, you could pull it off because you tall and statuesque and beautiful. I mean, I think you're beautiful, but you just got bad hair this season. And I'm looking at your hair, and it's scaring me. Because it's like you got some extensions and stuff in there, but it's really looking like you got it. Girl, you doing it yourself? And I ain't trying to read or be funny. It just doesn't look stable, and it doesn't look professionally done. And so it's starting to kind of, I'm saying, are we getting ready to lose edges? Are we getting ready? What's going on? Because this ponytail, it was just yanked straight back. You beautiful, but you're not yanked straight back beautiful. You need a little swoop, little something. Not no yank straight back. Yank straight back is hard. There's very few people get away with just yank straight back. Yank straight back. Ooh, yank straight back will have you bald headed. So that's where it just makes me nervous. I keep looking at your hair, and then that little ponytail up top, it was a little stingy, and I'm going to go on and move one off. As y'all know, I like Contessa, but I keep feeling like I'm dragging her every week because the hair is just bad, and it feels like you're doing it yourself. I'm moving on for now. Okay, Dr. Jackie. Dr. Jackie had a really good scene here because I've spoken about this before, how sometimes people really take it for granted. Do you all realize, and not just the women, I'm not talking to the women, I know you all realize, but people in general, I don't think people realize that women, our women, all kinds, no, I'm not talking about women are women. Our procreators are I know y'all hate it, but cisgender women that were born as women who create life and actually have babies. Our women do still in 2022 die at childbirth. There are women who perish bringing a baby into the world, and people don't talk about it. People have not talked about this stuff since I was a little boy. I'm 50 years old now. And it's something that just kind of went away. Like you don't hear people talk about it much, but it still happens. It still happens. That's why I always would say, like, people who are on drugs and stuff, you got to stop playing games because you're playing games with yourself. You're playing games with the baby. You're playing games with Mother Nature and the Creator because you're not safe. When you're not having prenatal care and all of this, and you're not keeping up to what it is that you're supposed to be doing, there are things that you are supposed to be doing, and running the street, copping a hit is not it when you're pregnant. Please don't take it for granted. Women do still die in childbirth. It's not a joke. It is not a joke. It is a very serious matter. And I don't usually mess with this stuff because, again, I can't have no baby. But I just think people take that for granted. It's one of them things that people just take for granted. Like, oh, that won't happen. Yes, it does happen. It does happen. It does happen. But Dr. Jackie touched into this, and she was saying that there are alarming numbers of women, and the numbers lean toward our, and I'm not saying our as a whole now, I was speaking as a whole, but our now, I'm talking about our women, the women that got the skin like mine, Black, African American women, have alarming numbers of women that actually perish during childbirth. So with Jackie saying that, and it's just crazy how that's one of those topics that just kind of roams in my head sometimes. And I think that people just kind of play over it, play by it. When she brought that, it caught my ear, and I was like, I'm glad that this is, because she's an OBGYN, so definitely, I'm glad that she brought this up forth. And then she was talking about teaching her patients what to look for, what to ask, what questions, and not to be scared to ask, because if she can't make it to the hospital and she's not actually there for the actual birth, she's already prepped her clients on what to look for and what to ask, to be able to be proactive in their own healthcare. So that to me is a good doctor. I have a good doctor. My regular doctor and my oncology doctors that I had, they were very, very good, and they were real on that. Like, they made certain that I knew, don't be scared to be asking nobody no questions. Don't be scared thinking you hold nothing up. Ask the questions and know what's going on with you. So that's a good doctor. And you can't teach that, really. You usually have it or you don't. There are certain people that are made to be certain things, and good doctors are created. They're not made. They're created. They come here to be that. It's part of their talent. Anyway, moving on. Thank you for that, Dr. Jackie. I like that. I really did. I like that. Ms. Gomez, and I think I called her Gonzalez last week. I think I called her Gonzalez. I'm sorry. Ms. Gomez, cute little lady. She's gone. She's leaving, and from Anila's house, and that little girl just took it so badly. I felt so bad for that baby. She just cried and just cried, but you have to figure she's like grandma. They see Miss Gomez. They're with Miss Gomez more than they're with their actual nana, their grandma. So I was like, wow. And the little boy, I don't think he's young, so I don't think he really realizes, like, she's literally not coming back. Even though they're saying it, I don't think he's really realizing, like, that's it. You're not going to see Miss Gomez anymore unless you actually pick up and go see her when you get older or something, but you're not going to see her anymore. And he just kept saying, but what about my pinto beans? Listen, little boy, I understand. Oh, baby, a pinto bean will get your life in order. Pinto beans. He kept saying pinto beans. Just cute little kids. But I felt really bad for the daughter. She just cried and just cried and just crawled up in her dad's arms and just cried. And the bad part was, I felt bad for Anila, because I think Anila's just an adult, but she wanted to cry too. You can see it all in Anila's face. And I don't pay Anila no attention. I usually give her a hard time because I just don't see the value in her a lot in the show. But I really felt for her. You could see the distress all in her face. She really is in a state of, what am I going to do? Girl, you're going to do what you do. You're going to work now. That's all. You're going to work now. You're going to play mommy, and you're going to be on the internet, girl. See you on the spot, girl. See you in these streets. Thing. Anyway, moving on. This whole thing, talking about feeling somebody in their spirit. My guy Grimace. I call Eugene Grimace. I call Eugene Grimace, and I call Toya the Fry Guy. They like the besties, and they just be hanging out and all that. But old Grimace, old Eugene I feel bad for Eugene. I always felt like he's like working himself to death. Like he just work. And it's so important for him to try to provide this lifestyle that he wants and that he dreamed of. But it's a lot of work to try to live up to what it is that you got in mind. So he's doing all this overtime and all of this kind of carrying on. And once he went through pandemic, I think it shifted something in Eugene. And Eugene is literally burned out. He's burned out. He's burnt, like we're watching him burning out. I would not be surprised at all if Eugene just like starts doing something else. Like in his career, like he's going to find something different and or something. Because, you know, we went through one period where he was getting sick. Like he was working to the point where he was getting sick. We was like, Toya, all this craziness, you're going to kill that man, you know. But I think he's actually, he ran that course so long. And then with the pandemic, it just, everything was just amplified. And I just feel like he is just burned out. He is literally burned out. He's actually speaking it. He's talking about, I do overtime trying to keep my money up. But see, that's one of the things. And that's not just about being a doctor. You should never live above your means. And that's what it falls under. Extra money is just that. It's extra. You can't live from extra. You can't live off of overtime because it will go away. Eventually, it always goes away. You live off of the salary that you actually agreed to, the salary that is on paper. When they pull you up at a computer and it says you make this much, that's what you live off of. You don't live off of overtime. You don't live off of a side hustle. Those things could go away. And they do go away at a certain time. But I've seen that so much, especially when I worked a regular job. You know, I've seen that so much. I've seen my coworkers who bought cars and things when we were in a place where we had unlimited overtime. And then y'all, you bought these cars, and then when the overtime went away. You know, I worked at a place where we were open from 7 a.m. in the morning till midnight. And then there was like a long period of time, it was years, where we just had unlimited overtime. And baby, we would get it. You understand me? Get it. Okay? Be tearing it up. But then you say that you know, my mother's smart. Okay? My mother actually used to do the job that I do. When I was growing up, my mother did the job that I was doing. My mother said, don't do that. Don't, you know, she sat me down. Don't ever do this. Because she had seen people do it. Sure enough, I listened to my mother. I started paying attention. I'm looking at the people, and I was watching people doing exactly what my mother was saying. And I said, well, you know, that's my mother was an accountant. And my mother, you know, retired as an accountant. So money is the thing. She liked counting money. So people were doing exactly what my mom said. And I was watching them. I'm like, Mom, they are doing exactly what you said. She's like, I told you. Don't you do it, because it always ends badly. Do you know how many cars and things I saw repossessed? Do you know how many 10-day shut-off notices and shit that I seen with people who made damn good money? Damn good. We made damn good money. Do you understand me? And I saw people with 10-day shut. That 10-day shut-off should never have fallen in the building where I work. 10-day shut what? Not you get paid every Friday. How'd you get to the 10-day? What is that? Living above your means. Done got yourself backed up where you working this overtime. Now the overtime's gone. We went from working 7, you know, our building being open from 7 a.m. to 12 midnight, 6 days a week, to now we done went 7 to 7, Monday through Friday. That's a whole lot of hours missing availability. And now you done went from here to here, and now you trying to keep up, and you done screwed up. I seen it with my own eyes, all 4 or 6 of them, a mess. But I feel like that's kind of where Eugene might be, where, you know, you was doing things off of all of this overtime and all of this other stuff, and then, you know, the hours ain't changed, but you changed. You breaking down, and your body ain't trying to let you do it. So I don't know. I just feel kind of bad for him. He just seems not himself, and he just seems, you know, there was a point, like I said, I've been watching this show since it came on. There was a point where I was always afraid for Eugene. I poked fun and stuff, but I was like, oh God, he seems like he's working himself to death. And now it seems like he'll work himself back into sickness, you know, being unhappy and stress. Stress will kill you. Do you understand me? Being unhappy with your work is bad, because that's somewhere you got to go every day. Being unhappy with your work will create stress. Stress is a silent killer. It will take you up out of here. You got to have some type of love of what you do, or even a like of what you do. You don't want to get to a point where you hate what you do, and whatever that is, you're doing it every day. It'll create stress, and the stress will take your ass up out of here. Anyway, enough with me and my PSA. I'm moving on. We see, I said, where's she come from? Omarosa. Omarosa. We found Omarosa, Simone, and Cecil are friends. Actual friends. Actual friends. They actually talked about, and I liked this, they talked about some good information about not changing up on your friends because of different little world things. You know, you have a friendship, be the friendship. Meet the friend where the friend is, and just, it is what it is. Y'all ain't got to agree on everything. So they were talking about how, you know, they used to have to explain stuff, and they were taken up for when people were talking about her affiliation with 45, honey, Mr. Trump. When she was doing all of that. Now, I could imagine exactly how that was. I mean, just look at it. It was like, I don't want to get into the political thing, but for some people in some people's lives, Donald Trump was like a black widow spider. And I'll just tell two people, Omarosa. Omarosa, you know, people just literally was like, girl, we ain't got you to do no more. Her affiliation. And another one, Chrisette Michelle. That's the one that bothers me. To this day, that thing just bothers me. How Donald Trump literally was a black widow spider to Chrisette Michelle. Just took her down. Just took her down, and he wasn't even trying to take her down. It just happened. Just the 2 seconds. Girl, all she did was dibbity, 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 dibbity at his little dinner, and they was giving, girl, we don't want to hear another note of nothing that you singing, Miss Thing. Get on out of here. That hurt me to my soul, because she is one of the most talented black women of our time singing. So she's a songstress. She is awesome. And her talent is, a lot of it is just being ignored because of one gig. One gig. That is what a black widow spider does. Child just sucked the life right out of her. And anyway, I ain't gonna go. I could do 52 videos about that, because I hate it. I hate it. I really do love Chrisette Michelle. I love her talent. I love her music. But I'm only one person, and I will always speak that we need to lift the cancel off of Chrisette. She has apologized. She has explained how she ended up in that spot. You know, I don't know. That she is definitely a person that cancel culture, I think, did a disservice to. I really, really do. There are people who've done things that are much worse than singing at a dinner for a fool, honey. And I will always speak in your favor, Miss Chrisette, honey. And she's a very nice person as well. She really is a nice person. Anyway, moving on. But this is the thing with Omarosa. So we're seeing this scene, and I never knew that there was any type of friendship between Cecil, Simone, and Omarosa. You know, that just showed Omarosa got different sides. She's not always nasty. She's not always, you know. Could you imagine the nasty Omarosa and the nasty Simone button heads? It'll be loud. Loud and never ending. Anyway, they're getting pointers on the book, you know, for their book from Omarosa. Listen, she already made a splash in the book world, in the world of authors. So definitely she's the one to talk to. She's definitely behind them, and, you know, willing to do whatever she can do for them, and she's rooting for them. And then when Michael called, and she said, oh no, let me talk to my nephew. And that's what told me. I said, oh no, it's a real actual real friendship. You could hear Michael on the phone and the way he was talking. See, the kids don't do the acting thing. The conversation between the exchange between Omarosa and Michael sold for me that, oh, this is actually a real friendship. This is not where they're just blowing smoke up our ass. Michael spoke with Omarosa the same way that Michael speaks when he talks to Jackie. That read for me real friendship. So again, a good scene in here. I thought that was good. I told you I love this show. Anyway, moving on. Let's go on over here to this intervention. Baby, they got this whole thing with this putting your phone in this bucket. Yeah. So you got Simone, Toya, and Contessa. They're the only ones that know what's going on. Anila gets there, and Toya answers the door. And she says, yeah, Anila, you need to put your phone in this bucket and all of that. No, I'm sorry. The first one to the door was Anila. It was Contessa actually had her come in. Put your phone in the bucket. And Neil's like, oh, okay. But right away she said, something ain't right here. Something ain't right with this. She looked real nice. So she had a nice little outfit on. Said, okay, but all right. So she put her phone on in the bucket and everything out there at the door. Next person to come is Quad. Quad come through with the whole situation with the bucket. And it's Toya to answer the door. She laughed. She's like, Toya, what are you doing answering the door at Contessa's house? Like, you don't answer the door at other people's house. So they hug and everything. And she's like, well, wait a minute. Put my phone in the bucket. Why? Everybody just wanted to put their phone in the bucket because nobody wanted anybody texting or calling, but they wouldn't say that to try to warn, warn Heavenly of what's actually going down, because naturally she's going to be the last one to get there. Toya wasn't explaining it right because Toya's just Toya. You know, Toya's a goon. And Quad was like, okay. So Toya tells Quad, well, if you're not going to put your phone in the bucket, then, girl, I guess I'm going to have to ask you to leave. Quad was like, and I thought that was a joke. And I believe it was just a joke. Quad was like, okay, girl, well, I'm out. And she actually went out the door. Good night, everybody, and went right the hell on out the door. I said, Quad, see, you know you be with the mess. She could sense mess before it even starts stanking, honey, because she with the shits. She was going on down the driveway, child. They went running. It's like, Quad, now come back. So they explained to her, give her more info. She said, okay, she put the thing in the thing. And she's trying to get together. She's like, I don't know, y'all. This don't sound like a good idea. Don't sound too much like a good idea. And then they're like, but, you know, this is the thing. Like, we've all really been hurt, them three, by Heavenly, and it just needs to stop, this, that, and the other. So Quad's like, well, I mean, I don't know. And at this time, it's like, well, she ain't said nothing so bad about Quad that Quad heard. Come in close, my loves. That Quad heard. Okay? So Quad's still Team Heavenly. She's still Team Heavenly. She like, really, y'all? I mean, y'all really putting 20 on 10. And that was her stance. So then Jackie comes. Same thing at the door with that damn Toya. Jackie ends up saying, all right, good night, everybody. And Jackie going on out the damn door. Jackie smelled shit before it got to stinking. She was they was like, no, Jackie. They ran to get Jackie. They're like, nah, Toya can't answer the door no more. So they get Jackie to come on back. And Jackie's like, I don't know, y'all. This might not go too well. Anyway, so they all head on down to the theater room downstairs. And by this time, Heavenly hasn't come. They're getting together. Now, Contessa had on this wig. And the wig was pretty. It was pretty. But, you know, it was an old cheap wig. It's a wig. It's cute, though. But it was lilac. It's like this very, very soft lilac. It looked good on Contessa. Except for it didn't have... It wasn't white. I don't know why she's saying storm. I'm like, that's not storm. That's not the right color. But okay, whatever. That's just me. I'm an old X-Men fan, child. Listen, I'm a Toys R Us kid. I don't want to grow up. I said, okay. Anyway, so they're sitting down there. They're getting everything together. They carry everything down. Heavenly comes. Once Heavenly gets there, once she gets there, they're running the video footage. And they're sitting there. And Heavenly just start drinking up brown liquor, honey, and just sit. And the stuff that she's saying about each individual person is coming up. They got it all spliced in. Heavily is sitting there cracking up. Do you hear me? Cracking. And you know that laugh for her. It's like laughing. And baby, every time she say something about somebody, it was like, it was just getting worse and worse. And it's like, oh. And I looked over there at Quad's face. Honey, when Quad, see, that just goes to show Quad, you be very busy and you don't be paying attention all the time to what's being said over there on your friend's channel, honey. When she said what she said about Quad and her dating married men and making fun of different stuff, honey, Quad's face was like, bitch. And it wasn't funny no more. It wasn't funny and it wasn't no all light. But I will give you this, Quad. After you put it in the grand scheme, you sat there for a little bit as to what was going on. You revamped and you were still, you wasn't jumping ship. You wasn't flip-flopping on her. You was still Team Heavenly. And the fact that how she was being ambushed. And you didn't appreciate the ambush because it could happen. You've been ambushed before here. So she jumped back on her. But I'm telling you, when she got on, when they clicked up the Quad part, baby, it stung. I could see it all over her face, honey. It stung. And you understood what the other ladies meant. This stuff, I mean, again, you got a different type of humor, and your humor, Heavenly, is cut, and it's curt, and sometimes it hurts because it's one of them things. My grandmother was saying, it's the truth that hurts. And she was saying it, and it's the truth in the way you see it. And girl, what hurt them, honey. But Contessa was the one, baby. It just wore her soul out because she's confided things in you. And I don't think she actually broke the confidence, but some things you just felt like wasn't as big of a deal as she thought it was. And you like, girl, well, that's your fault, child. All you had to do is do this. And it was very, and it hurt. Baby, them two end up, honey, it just ended up getting big and ugly. And Heavy's like, y'all are attacking me. And y'all are attacking me. Why? I mean, I said what I said. She doubled right on down in it. She doubled down in it. And she's like, I said what I said. Whatever. So Heavenly's like, I'm out of here. Contessa goes out. I think it was Contessa that went out first. Yeah, Contessa went out first. And she was very, very upset. And the other girls were talking to Heavenly, trying to talk to Heavenly and just saying, no, it's not really an attack. It really is kind of, we're just trying to make you see that what you're saying actually hurt us. And we feel a kind of way about it. Contessa went on over there. So they go out. I'm trying to think who actually went out to console Contessa. Simone. It was Simone. Because Simone didn't get loud at all. Simone's whole face, Simone in a whole different place, okay? Simone was worried. She went to check on Contessa because she took a minute. They was like, just let her cool off. And she sat there. She's like, She went with Contessa. And this is when the funny part happened. Contessa was getting so mad. She had gotten so angry at the fact that once you put it out there like that and Heavenly still didn't get it, didn't give a shit, and is saying, whatever, it's your marriage, it just whatever, girl, shit, I don't give a shit. It was what it was. I said what I said, Very, I'll say more before I take anything back. It was very much that. Contessa was getting angry. She's sitting out there and Simone and her was talking, and she was, this goddamn wig. She pulled the wig off and throws the wig on the ground. I said, oh, you really mad. You really mad. She pulled that wig off, threw it on the floor. I said, no, I ain't filming the wig on the floor. It was like, whoosh. I said, oh. Ciao. But anyway, so by this time, Contessa's coming back down, and she's like angry. And now Heavenly's like, oh, the hell with this. I'm out of here. Y'all ridiculous. And she going on out, child, and then her and Contessa in the hallway, and then they're like talking. And she's like, Contessa, like, seriously? And they're having a conversation the way they had a conversation. They're loud. Everybody else just go sit down. It said, Jackie said, let them, this different shit. It ain't got, let them, they got to get that out. Let them get it. It was so damn loud. They were so loud. Like, ugh. It was hard. So, because they're friends. So that was hard. Screaming and yelling and Heavenly's trying to hug her, and you know, she like, no, I ain't buying that bullshit. You're laughing and you're saying like my marriage is funny to you, and I'm like, I get what she's saying, though I get what Heavenly's saying as well. I think the YouTube thing was a bit much, you know, because you're over here, you turned her marital problem into content. And the thing is, you're on a reality show, Contessa. So you turned it into content. But it hurt a little bit different because it's Heavenly. It's different than if I'm talking about Scott and Contessa. I don't know Scott and Contessa. I'm talking about what I see on the screen. Heavenly and Contessa have sat where Heavenly has listened to Contessa cry about Scott and this, that, and the other, and you know more than what was shown on the TV. And then, you know, that's where it was coming. That's where the feelings was coming from. So that was just a double-edged sword. Hey, these YouTube channels can really be just that. It can be a double-edged sword. You know, sometimes you say one thing and a person, you got what they end up calling a YouTube ship with another YouTuber, and they take it a little rougher than what you said it, and the next thing you know, now y'all in a full-on beef. Child, it is what it is, honey. I like my beef supple, not chewy. Make it do what it do, boo. But anyway, you know, that's the life of a YouTuber. So that's where the issue is. As long as Heavenly speaks about her castmates and try to do this thing, what I do, I do reviews of the show. I think it's weird to do a review of a show that you are in. But hey, at the end of the day, if it don't make money, it don't make sense, right? She got the back, and she'll definitely always make more views than a normal reviewer because shit, she's there. You know what I mean? And we all gonna tune in and see what's spill, honey. Here's what it is. I'm a fan. I'm subscribed to Heavenly's channel. So, it is what it is. So what's this heifer saying this time? Oh, Heavenly, whoa! And listen, it is what it is. So that went down. Nothing's really resolved. They still screaming. Yeah, it is what it is. And then the last thing, Quad was still, you know, she's still Team Heavenly. She's like, this was not really like an intervention. This was really like y'all trying to get it together and ambushing her to get her. Y'all wanted to get her and make her feel how y'all felt. You wanted her to feel blindsided. You wanted her to feel a little embarrassed. You wanted her to feel a little attacked, which is true. Which is true. But that's kind of what she do over on her YouTube channel too. So again, who's right, who's wrong? Hell, I don't know. Y'all tell me what y'all think. And I promise you we won't all agree. That's what the comment section is for. Tell me what y'all think in the comment section. What do y'all think? Is Heavenly wrong? Is Contessa wrong? Is everybody wrong? What's up? And listen, I'll be in the comments, and you know we'll chit-chat until time for another episode. You know how we do. This has been Married to Medicine, Season 9, Episode 3. I'll see y'all in the comments. Later.